Let's talk X Factor, and what a huge X Factor they definitely are. I talked with Ryan, their coach, briefly from the stands. I said, hey, Ryan, what are you doing here? I thought you retired. He goes, hey, man, we're coaching X Factor. And lo and behold, coaching makes a difference. They beat Boston Red Legion their first game. Got to hand it to them. Talk about an X Factor. Who would have thought X Factor in Boston? First game, X Factor wins that one. However, Boston ended up paying them back in the quarters. I think it was 12-7 was the final game there. So the Russians definitely said, hey, you did this once, but not twice. But again, X Factor, gotta hand it to them, making it to Sunday quarterfinals. Again, showing now. Okay, they've played 3 NXL Pro events, and 2 of those they have made to the next round. So I think X Factor is a factor to be dealt with, and I'm excited to see some new blood and some big surprises. So Ryan and his crew, hats off to you, 7th place, and again, keep it coming. Let's keep some parity here. All right, moving on, another surprise, the last of the quarterfinalists. Let's talk about LTZ. Hey, Bart Monroe, let me hand it to you. I thought, again, we're talking about another rebuild or building year. So we built the foundation we talked about last show for 2007. And what a surprise, making the quarterfinals. They proved they were for real, beating the Jacksonville Raiders, then stepping up to the quarters, where the Ironmen ended up putting on a clinic for them. And I think that was more of a shell shock. You got these young kids in the quarterfinals. Oh, we're playing Ironmen. What do we do? And I think they just forgot who they were momentarily. But nonetheless, a great learning experience. And again, proved me wrong. Here they are, 8th place. Now these kids can look at each other and go, look, we've made it to the quarters. We can do it again. Let's keep on going. So exciting things from LTZ and Bart Monroe. Again, I do apologize. You proved me wrong, and I'm, again, happy to admit it. So nothing but good things for that franchise, and Bart seeing early dividends already. I'm still not, again, I'll show my colors. I'm not 100% believer yet. But I think if LTZ can build off this, and these young guys can say, look, if we can mentally, if they can accept, hey, we did it once, we can do it again. Again, they've proven it. So I don't know, again, with the youth, if they're going to be able to continue that. But nonetheless, best of luck to LTZ. And again, I'm proud of you guys. All right, moving on. San Diego Legacy. These are the, and I talked with Maximus about this on Sunday, and I don't understand it. He doesn't understand it. Maybe somebody from the NXL could try to call and explain it to me. I'm not 100% sure how the whole point spread and all that works. But it seemed with 2 wins under the belt, Legacy was sure to move on. And somehow X Factor got the nod, and they didn't. And again, still not, maybe Tony, Commissioner of the NXL, can call and break that one down to me. I'm sure there's some kind of new math that goes into that. But nonetheless, they're the only team that won 2 that was on the outside looking in. And again, you got to be frustrated with that. Again, there's no 2 wins and you're in rule in the NXL, that's for sure. So Legacy on the short end of the stick on this one. Tough to swallow. They had a great squad. Again, Maximus doing some great things with them. So look for, again, an improvement there on next tournament. But nonetheless, hard pill to swallow when you win 2 and you're sitting out on Sunday. All right, moving on. Let's talk Philly All-Americans. And I do apologize. I talked that Philly didn't really have any huge free agent signings. They did sign Fabrice from Europe, one of the European stars, and I got a chance to talk with him in the Sup Air booth, and it turns out the first game tore his knee up on the pegs that were nailed into the bunkers down on the cement and the turf, and just an unlucky slide, an unlucky break, and he's done for I don't know how long. Said a pretty good gash, couple sets of stitches, and from there the All-Americans kind of fell apart. Spesh didn't exact the return of Spesh. Now again, you don't want to say too many bad things about Spesh because his arm's about 5 times bigger than mine. I think him and Hulk Hogan work out together, but nonetheless, he did again it's been a while since he played, so he kind of came back and didn't have his best game, and the All-Americans could not advance on. And again, so they're in a 10th place spot. Again, not definitely where they want to be, but I think some good things to build on. Hopefully the young guys can get, or Fabrice can get healed up there and get those stitches out and be back on the field. So that's it for the All-Americans. All right, moving on. Let's talk about Aftershock. Really not any surprise, exactly right where we predicted them. Although their games were very close. They had a couple 1-point games. Of course, 1 point in the wrong direction for them. But again, I think that's where the big difference in the pro ranks in the NXLs, where those in the Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, the sloppiness of 1 or 2 points really comes to play here in the NXL. Again, 1 point makes a huge, and again, it's so funny about the X-Ball format. 1 point cannot really make a difference, but in the close games, they really do. I would say the Ironmen and Boston they really manage every point and squeeze it out and have a strategy on everything. And I guess, again, Aftershock it came a little short on that end. And again, they're looking at 11th place, kind of right where they were last year. Let's look at Strange. Another one, close on a couple games, only lost to the Russians by 1, so they proved they have a for real squad, but just couldn't put it all together at the right times. They're sitting in 12th place, and again, kind of where we predicted them for 2007. Moving on, as predicted, the Naughty Dogs, I knew they'd drop, but I didn't think they'd drop this much, all the way down to 14th place, only had 1 win versus Strange, and that's definitely not the Dog style. Again, as we talked about last week, Rocky, I really think you guys, again, too much for where you guys are at. You're a distance team, up there in the Pacific Northwest, traveling to both these events. I think they really need to focus on either X-Ball or Super 7, one or the other. But obviously they saw their X-Ball game suffer tremendously. Again, only had 1 win, and definitely that was just not the Dogs that we know. So remains to be seen what they'll end up doing, roster changes, whatever. But again, not a very good event here in Los Angeles for the Dogs. All right, moving on. Ultimate, I have to hand it to you. Not last place. So again, people say, why are you so hard on them, etc. I'm just, again, calling it like it is. 0 wins again. I remember last year we talked a little bit to the owner of the team, say, hey, at least we're getting closer. So yes, we did. There weren't the blowouts of 2004, 12-0 and any of this stuff. So slowly, and it's possible they are making progress, just not enough for us to see at the time. So I will give them that benefit. But they're hanging tough. Again, not last place, 15th place, and that brings up the huge surprise of last place, Baltimore Trauma. And again, the question I have is, what happened? 0 wins, not the Trauma of last year, that's for sure. And I don't know if they just, it was just one of those weekends for them where they couldn't get anything going, but definitely not the Baltimore Trauma that we know. I didn't have a chance to talk with Losoya, couldn't chase him down and find out what the happen was, but I know with Losoya, he's not going to pull any punches and give you any, nonsense double talk. He would just say, hey, we were terrible, and that's the way it is. And that's what we like about Chris, because you know where he stands. All right, folks, that wraps up this edition of the 2007 NXL postgame for Pro Paintball Weekly. Look for our next show as we preview the MPPL Super 7. And just for you guys, just so you know, Maximus has been rebooked on the show for our MPPL preview. And we've already made arrangements right after he comes out of the airport. He's going to come on, and we're going to try it one more time with Maximus. So look for that. For this week's Pro Paintball Weekly, I'm Evan Money. God bless, everybody.